Well, I thought of the book The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls.
And I brought The Absolutely True Diary of Part-Time Indian today.
This book, Centennial, and it's big. It's big. I think it's a testament to how much I loved it when I first read it, that as an 18-year-old I got through something that was this thick, because that's not your typical 18-year-old reading material.
Proof of Heaven by Dr. Alexander Eben.
The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson at Burnett.
Persepolis, we teach that in Asian literature. It's a book written by a woman that lives in France, but she grew up in Iran.
Well, I could probably talk about several books that have influenced me in my life. I've chosen Harry Potter because this series has influenced my entire family.
Dreamland by Sarah Dessen has been a book that has really impacted me.
The book that's had the biggest impact on me lately is Lama Bowie's Mighty Be Our Powers.
I've chosen Catcher in the Rye as my favorite band book.
The Little House books, because I don't think I can remember a book before these books.
When I was a child, I used to haunt the Alexandria Public Library and take out all different kinds of history books. And the ones that I remember the best were actually a children's series that were famous biographies, and they ran the gamut of personality and influence. I mean, Kit Carson, Annie Oakley, Abigail Adams, Thomas Jefferson, you name it. But the power of what I found in those books was not replicated in my school books, in my school history books. I found them really dry, names, dates, facts, figures, just things that I didn't always relate to.
But it's important, this is the type of book that people really, the kids especially, would really love to read. If all the books they read are very safe and boring, frankly, they probably aren't going to be too interested in reading because they're going to think all books are like that. That's why it's very important to have books that kids actually want to read.
It is certainly not a page turner, sit down with a cup of coffee and read from front to back. It is actually not only very thought-provoking, but very disturbing. It's the memoir of a woman, Jeanette Walls, whose parents, I guess you would say, made a conscious decision never to settle down. I would basically say they had their family live as homeless people.
It's about her experiences growing up and sort of suffering under oppressive authority figures, deciding what people could see and how they could dress and what they could read and whatnot.
In it, she shows not only that the people who aren't valued by a society, who are being harmed, can and have to fight against the government to end the kind of violence that they live in.
It was the first book I've ever read about teenage dating and violence.
My attraction to the story was actually the fate of the children, and probably also the idea that these parents didn't or couldn't or wouldn't take a closer look at how their choice of lifestyle was impacting their children.
I was surprised that so many people had said that the book was subversive and that the main character, Holden Caulfield, was a juvenile delinquent. When the thing that struck me most about the book was that it's about a child grieving for his brother. And I'm always shocked that that's not the first thing that people say about this book.
It's one of the many accounts of a near-death experience, and what was intriguing about Proof of Heaven to me was that it was written by a neurosurgeon, a doctor who was not a believer before he went into a 7-day coma with no measurable brain activity.
I'll never forget some of the things he said, and one particular quote from the book caught my attention. And he said, "During the few years allotted to us here, we are the guardians of our earth, the custodians of our heritage, and the caretakers of our future." And I thought that really said it all. His entire motivation for writing the book.
It had such an impact on me that I thought everyone should read it. That's the first time I realized not everyone feels the same way about every book the way that I felt about it.
We don't have to all agree that a book is great, just that it's worth reading.
This is history. Even though it's fiction, this is our history. All this rich complexity, humor, serendipity, power of place, power of personality.
I can't think of any other book that has influenced me and meant so much to me in my life as Harry Potter, because they've been more than mere books. They were and continue to be a fabulous event that my family has participated in for 15 years.
I actually now require the book to be read in my junior, senior level undergraduate education course that deals with being the director of a daycare or preschool program.
I have never ever forgotten the impact of Mishner's words and his book, Centennial, on the way that I view history, the past, the present, and the future.
There we go.